Hey guys, welcome back to another video where I'm going to be showing you my painting process step by step. If you're new to my channel, I'm painting one portrait every day for this year 2025. So if you want to follow my journey or check out the rest of my paintings, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on my social media, which I'll leave the link in the description. As you can see, I start by priming the surface with a neutral color first. I don't intend for the color to be completely smooth because I actually like the brushstrokes to be visible right from the start. I think it sets a nice tone and texture for me to build the painting on. The sketching process is so interesting because you need to find a balance between being precise with the placement of the features and the positioning of the head to build a good foundation of the portrait, but at the same time it should be something loose and fast to give you an impression of how the portrait is going to look as soon as possible. You have to keep in mind that nothing is permanent at this stage and everything is susceptible of being shifted. A good tip is to try not to erase too much at this point and just leave whatever you placed there and don't go over the same line 1,000 times. I'm always thinking about getting the impression of the image I'm going to paint as quickly as possible. So I'm not trying to draw the face, I'm trying to block the shapes that I see in the photo reference, if that makes sense. I started with burnt umber only, but I added color pretty soon to speed up the process and to get an underpainting that already matches the final palette. I'm not focused on color accuracy at this point, just getting the overall feel of the portrait as quick as possible. Once I have the overall shape down, I start blocking in the darkest areas and marking out zones of warm and cool tones. You'll notice here I had to adjust the forehead because it was too big at first. But that's the beauty of this stage, there's room to fix things. Don't get caught up in perfection early on. Think of it as building a flexible structure. I think painting fast is such a great way to train your confidence and loosen up. Beginner painters are usually too stiff and too worried about perfection in every step of the painting. And I think that's very limiting. Painting fast can help you avoid that stiffness and over perfectionism since it forces you to let go of control a little bit. For me, it also helps me connect with my intuition because the speed doesn't allow me to overthink, so I have to rely on intuitive decisions. Overall, I also think it's more fun and feels more expressive and natural than taking forever to finish a painting. And there's also less room for judgment. Your inner critic tends to get quiet because you're working fast. If you spend days on a painting, there's a higher chance your self-sabotaging voice will show up and maybe even stop you from finishing the piece at all. After the sketch, which in this case only took about 5 minutes, I begin applying color more opaquely. For the sketch, the paint is very diluted in solvent, but once I move to the color phase, I start adding linseed oil to make the paint thicker and smoother. At this point, I'm mainly thinking about temperature and value, getting the dark areas dark, the light areas light, and adjusting colors to be cooler or warmer as needed. For example, on the lip, I initially applied a very bright red, which was too saturated for that area. So I mixed in a bit of Persian blue to tone it down and deepen it, and it worked much better. My favorite part about the alla prima method is that at all times you can play with how the figure interacts with the background. For example, here I fixed the neck and blurred the top of the head, making it kind of disappear into the background. I always try to make the mixtures thicker as I go so that the earlier, more diluted layers dry faster than the thicker final layers. And that's so important to prevent the paint from cracking. Even though I don't like blending in my paintings because I like the brushstrokes to be visible, I do play a lot with the lost and found edges. Like I just did on the side of the head, softening the edges between the brushstrokes. I also suggest covering the whole portrait first before getting into details. It makes no sense to me to try to make a perfect nose when the rest of the painting is lacking a solid foundation. That's why I think it's better to build the whole painting at once, developing all areas simultaneously. This portrait took me 25 minutes to complete, which is quicker than usual, but I feel that practicing every day is making me faster without compromising quality. At the beginning of the challenge, I used to spend about an hour and a half on each portrait, and now it's usually around an hour, sometimes less, and occasionally even 25 minutes like this one. I don't think I've ever taken less than that though. What's really important is knowing when the painting is finished, especially when you're aiming for a more expressive or modern impressionist style like I am. It's very easy to overwork a painting until it loses its freshness. If you're going for a realistic style, you can keep layering until every detail is perfect. But if you're trying to be expressive, spontaneity is key and it's something precious you need to protect. Here, for example, I'm adding a blue shade under the head, which feels like a risky choice, but with these kinds of decisions, we train our confidence. And only by getting out of our comfort zone, you can really learn and grow. And if for some reason your risky decision doesn't work, then you're training your problem-solving skills, which are also crucial. And it goes hand in hand. If you trust your ability to fix something, you'll be braver when trying new things. And by taking those risks, you'll also fail more, and that helps you train your problem-solving skills. So it's a win-win. So make those risky decisions because either you will succeed or you will learn. Anyways, that's all for today. The painting is pretty much done now. I hope you found this video helpful in some kind of way. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you're interested in following my process, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on my social media so you can watch my process and hopefully how I keep improving throughout the year. Thank you so much for watching this far. I hope you liked today's portrait, and I'll see you tomorrow in my daily portraits videos.